Oy vey me shekels, how's it hangin'? My name is Sam Lahey, and today I've come to talk to you lovelies about a controversial subject. This subject, as you can tell by the title of the video, is Mass Effect Andromeda. Mass Effect Andromeda is the latest game in the Mass Effect franchise, and has been met with polarizing reviews to say the least, with many people calling out negative qualities such as horrid facial animations, rough voice acting, and subpar writing. Now, if you saw my top 5 list, you'd know I'm quite fond of the Mass Effect games, especially 2. So of course I had to get my grubby little Sam hands on it as soon as Andromeda came out. And while I haven't beaten the game, I have played about 10 or so hours of it, so I can give you some impressions. And so the big question is, what do I think of Mass Effect Andromeda?
This is...
What?
This is boring. Delete.
Yeah, it's not great. So I think Andromeda does a good deal of things wrong, but it also does a few things right. So I'm just going to read off this handy-dandy list I've made to give you guys an idea of what this game is like. And I'll start with the bad stuff, because, whoa Nelly, there's a lot of bad stuff. So number 1, the faces in this game look like fucking AIDS. While the earlier games had their weird quirks when it came to the expressions, you could still make out what emotions they were feeling, and they looked like actual people. For the most part, at least. Everyone in this game either looks like lifeless mannequins or stroke victims, and it's horrifying. Apparently, this had to do with some bugs and an eye shading error, as a recent patch supposedly fixed these issues. That doesn't change the fact that they fucked up, and that this game was probably rushed out the door way too fast. Speaking of being rushed out, number 2, Mass Effect Andromeda is in fact a buggy mess. One of the trademarks of the original Mass Effect trilogy was that they were very slick and polished games. Andromeda does a fantastic job of mucking that all up with an abundance of bugs and glitches. While I haven't experienced anything as insane as the dancing rider or the sinking lady, I've still seen some other odd ones, like characters popping in and out of existence, and some weird graphical stuff with the backgrounds. It's disappointing to see yet another AAA game come out like 6 months earlier than it should have, and even more disappointing that yet another publisher will be able to sweep this all under the rug with future patches and updates. Number 3, the writing is bland and unoriginal. I talked about how Mass Effect 2 had beautifully written characters who felt like living, breathing people, and also had a very engaging story to boot. Andromeda's cast and storyline are the exact opposite so far. All the characters are boring archetypes who we've seen a million times before, and they have nothing interesting to say. Like, this is probably the most memorable character moment in my playtime so far.
I think I really pissed that one off. Maybe because I shot him in the face.
The story is also nothing special so far. Bunch of good guys gotta stop a bunch of bad guys from doing evil shit. I know that's what a lot of games are, but at least be interesting. This is easily one of the most frustrating parts of the game for me, as BioWare normally knocks it out of the park when it comes to this aspect of their games. So number 4 is not really a definitive pro or con, as I have mixed feelings about it, but I thought it was still very important to talk about the combat in this game. In some ways, I really like it. You can choose from a much more massive variety of skills and perks, which makes combat feel much more varied when it comes to powers. The combat is actually much less cover-based than previous games too, as it encourages speed and moving all over the place, which is fun. What I don't like though is that you can no longer control your party members, stripping away any sense of strategy that the game once had, and making your companions practically useless. Also, while it can be fun moving all over the place and shooting, it's only about half the time where it feels good. The other half of the time, it feels very slippery and clunky, leading to many frustrating moments. Oh, and one final nitpick I have is that health regeneration is gone. While many of you probably think that health regeneration would make the game too easy, I think it's needed here as you're running and gunning most of the time, and there's not really any health pickups to find. I have one more con, but I'm going to save that until the end, because I like to keep the mystery.
Oh, okay.
So for my first pro, I must say the game is beautiful. While faces may look like my bloody stool, the landscapes are absolutely breathtaking, along with the revamped galaxy map. When you look out your ship's window, it really does look like you're in space. Pro number 2, I actually like the voice acting for Ryder. I know some people have said they sound like bumbling idiots, which I completely get those complaints. That's because it's true. I like the fact that Ryder is constantly nervous and unsure about what they think. It makes sense seeing as they're not badasses like Shepard, they're new recruits. And pro number 3, I have, well, shit, I actually don't have any more pros, really. I was gonna say something about the combat, but the more I thought about it, the more I realized how lukewarm I was on it. Well then, I'll just move on with my final point, and that is the biggest problem with this game. It's fucking boring. The combat is too frustrating for me to have fun, the worlds and exploration are bland and unrewarding, and the writing is too milquetoast to keep me engaged. It's the whole reason I'm doing an impressions video and not a review, because let me tell you, I've just about gotten all the entertainment I'm going to get out of this game. Guys, in the end, while not a horrible game, Mass Effect Andromeda is the most disappointing thing since my son, and that's saying something. It should have been a surefire hit for BioWare, and I'd love to learn how this game went wrong. That about does it for this video. Thanks for watching, and leave a comment about what you think of Mass Effect Andromeda, or any of the other ones for that matter.